to Stop Cossack Time. It's a very special end of season Stop Hammer Time, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do two shows. There's going to be two parts. If you're listening to this part of the show will end and another one will start, which will be a completely Phil Parks focused podcast. In the meantime, Phil is here with us. Phil Parks is in the building. Let's have a round of applause for Phil. Come on. We've had a few of the boys from 86 on, haven't we, Jim? The first.
Yes.
In the early years, we managed to convince Frankie Mack to come on by doing the podcast at the offices of Heat magazine and basically laying out a kind of a you know when like Wile E. Coyote lays out seed for the Roadrunner to follow. Frankie Mack, we laid out a long trail, not of cocaine, of attractive 18-year-old researchers for Frankie Mack to just try and pick up and follow up some stairs into the offices of Heat magazine. He did that, and we were,
yeah, he fell for it.
He fell for it, yeah. We were delighted with that. And then I think it was Wardy next, Jim?
Yes, I think so.
Wardy was fantastic. In fact, Phil, you'll like this. We went to the pub afterwards with Wardy, and the QPR podcast people were there, and they came up and sort of talked to us until Wardy turned around and went, "You're rich. Just fuck off." And made them leave. Because I think Wardy could see our eyes slightly going to heaven, and Wardy just turned around and said, "Hey, come on, man, fuck off," which was great. Cotty, obviously, who's got a new scrapbook of podcasts he's done. He keeps another podcast scrapbook now. Then Georgie. Georgie. I was talking about the boys of 86, but outside of that we've had Mad Dog and Julian, obviously. But I think of all of those people we've had, it might not be so universally held that they were the best player in that position.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Possibly Julian. It might be considered to be West Ham's best left back.
Big Frank.
But the man with us now, Phil Parks, is the best goalkeeper West Ham United ever.
Without question. Without question.
Best they ever had. That's the first we can kind of, I think there's a strong argument for most of those guys, maybe not Mad or George, but Frankie Mack was fantastic, obviously TC, fantastic, but Phil is head and shoulders above not only us,
Wrong product.
I never did that advert.
No. Why didn't you get that? That would have been the perfect advert.
That's Joe Hart.
I should probably just read a bit of sports reportage from the time you were playing. I found this piece of reporting. At the end of 90 minutes, keeping goal, Phil was beat. Well, that's typical of West Ham, actually. Hanging on and then conceding in the 91st minute. That's what we do. Phil was beaten. He was wet. He was dirty. And his hair looked as if it had stopped everything Big Tosh had thrown at him. This is Harry Harris in the Daily Mirror, I think. This is back in the dressing room after a good hot shower. Phil dried and combed his hair, sprayed his hair with Cossack hairspray. It's like 50 Shades of Grey. It's like this is the Cossack.
Sort of without the sex bit.
Yeah. It's like 50 Shades of Andy Gray. Except the women are treated slightly better. The women are treated in 50 Shades of Andy Gray. There's no sex, but they just have to hoover. It's about a woman that gets hired as a personal assistant. It just has to do housework. But that was the Cossack ad, but you did.
It was a Cossack ad. You got to put it into perspective what happens when the guy came along to me, fellow named Dave Smith, and he was a friend of mine, and he through a friend of his, there was a rally driver, if you can remember him, named Roger Clark. He did that advert for years. He did the Cossack advert where he took his racing helmet off and shook his head, and it was like, "What? So you just come straight down." first.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm
The first thing they had to have was a good head of hair. So that was the thing that he said you've got a lot of hair. They would like you to do it. So okay, cut long story short, we ended up filming the ad. But the ad it was on for 30 seconds. It took 3 whole days to film this thing. It was with all kinds of things. And it was really, really weird because at the end of it, Gailey comes up to me and says, all these years later, well, you should take the piss out of me so much. Well, how much did you get for that? Fucking stupid advert. Anyway, and he kept on and on. I never ever told him. And then we were lining up with the Boys of 86 reunion thing. We were having a photo done. And he's standing at the side of me and he just went, "You've never ever told me." He said, "How much you got for it?" And I went, "Oh," I said, "You're driving me mad." I said, "If you must know, I got 2/3 of a year's wages for doing it. It took 3 days to film and then that was it." And I just stood there like that and he went, he went, "Honestly?" I went, "Yeah." He went, that was it. He shot him dead. Yeah. But I've always said that the thing was that I did it. I actually did it blind because when they said Cossack, I immediately thought it was Cossack vodka. That's great. So of course, I mean, it's great.
What does that hairspray taste like?
It's horrible. I never ever got desperate enough, but I never ever used it. Honestly, apart from the advert, we used to. The one bit of the advert was meant that you had to go in the dressing room, and they did this at QPR, and they had to have a few extras. Johnny Hollins was in it. There was a couple of other players, and they did this scene from the they were blowing dry. I was in there, and so basically, I just had to stand there, spray my hair with a Cossack hairspray. They'd film it. We did all the voice sticks in another day, and then they'd go, "Okay, that's fine, let's cut. You're going to have your hair washed and blow dried again, and we'll go again." And I must have had this done about 5 or 6 times. And in the end, I just turned and said, "Can you tell me what's different between any of these?" And they went, "No, we've got to." I said, "I think we've had enough." So let me bring it hair wash 6 times and blow dried, So
2/3 of your annual salary. That's
was good. I mean, it's not the same salaries that they get nowadays, but believe me, it was still very, very good. So so that's the only time I've ever seen Tony get speechless.
all right. So let's talk more about hair in the second of these podcasts. In the meantime, the season's over.
Yes.
We played Newcastle United last game of the season. With us this week on the podcast to talk about this are Jim Grant.
Good evening.
And regular guest Don Peretta. Now you two went to the game.
We did, yes. We did. Not together.
You had very different
We went
experiences.
separate. We did try to meet up but failed. Now I had an interesting experience because one of the members of the Facebook group, Richard Johnson, who lives up in the northeast, works up there and knows various people who have access to a box. It's a corporate box. So I went to a Newcastle corporate box, my first ever corporate sports experience. Yeah. I didn't understand a word anybody said.
Jim, that is so racist.
Yes.
That is so racist.
Yeah, but it's true.
That was actually one of the tenets of UKIP's election campaign.
It was, yeah.
Just do you want life to be like a Newcastle United box? What did you...
It's basically Scotland, isn't it? Really?
Jim, come on. We're trying to build bridges here, Jim.
Plenty of those in Newcastle. You're just a shit team from Scotland is my favourite ever choice.
So, fellas, what did you make of the game? Phil and I didn't go.
Well, it was kind of a I mean, it's curious, isn't it, that experience? I've done it many times. Some of you no doubt will. When you're watching the game with opposition supporters, it is a kind of curious business, and they were so tense and so kind of up for it, so worried really about the the situation. So part of me secretly hoped we'd come absolutely piss on that parade. But part of me was a bit worried about what might happen if we did. And actually, I'd said to we went on this kind of rather swish elevator on the way up to the corporate box, and I had said to somebody...
This is a kind of indictment of what Jim's like, is that he's worried about what things happen when things kick off in an executive box.
Well, you say executive box, but it was very muscly and tattooed, the kind of atmosphere in there. They might it's quite intimidating.
That's very unconvincing, Jim.
Yeah, okay. But I said on the way up, look, you couldn't wish to be playing better opposition in the situation we're in. We will just roll over and you can tickle our tummies. And that is exactly what happened. It was another pusillanimous, pathetic.
The rustling of thesauruses then erupted.
Yeah, I ran it. Well, yeah, it was. We were terrible. First half, we were absolutely just not at it at all. Did we create a chance in the first half? There was that one moment where Downing was in, wasn't there, and sort of kind of didn't finish as usual. And there was a sort of kind of, Valencia sort of dived in an attempt to get penalty, and that was about it, really. And they were just, it was so obvious they were nervous and edgy and there for the taking. Just had a kind of ounce of kind of, aggression and at-it-ness. We could have really, really spoiled their party.
I mean, that's an indictment of the kind of second half of the season. Phil, what do you make of the second half of the season?
Well, the second half of the season is from December the 20th. We beat Leicester 2-0 at home. And then we went on this amazing run, if you like, of getting 15 points out of the possible 60 out of 20 games. I mean, I think it's absolutely scandalous, because had we not got those earlier points, we would have been in the same position, if not worse, than Newcastle in that season. That really worries me. I think there's a couple of reasons for it, which we can talk about in a minute. But I think one, the biggest one is the manager don't know what the fucking hell he's doing. And he hasn't for a long, long time. But I think it's also, it's become in the end a little bit of a personal vendetta against Gold and Sullivan, more so Sullivan than Gold, and the fans a little bit, because I mean, he stuck to when he did when he cupped his hand to his ear at the Hull game last year. That finished me completely.
Yeah, I agree.
I was born 3 miles away from the guy. We share a lot of similarities when we were young. We played for the same schoolboy side. I'm 4 years older than him, but we played in the same area side and everything else. And then his career, I came down south and he went up north. And so I've always kind of thought, well, yeah, he's a good old boy. And then until he came to West Ham, and then obviously I changed my mind big time about him. But as a guy, I haven't got no problems with him. But as a man, when he disrespected the fans on that day, that finished me completely. I had no time whatsoever.
It's very strange, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, we went to QPR, and obviously, you have a big connection with both teams, and with a stretched squad and an injured Sacco and less attacking options, the one thing you do have is 3 substitutions, and he just made 1 and wandered around on the touchline, and Nene, Amalfitano, he didn't even use them, and I thought, that's like a man sulking.
Well, on Sunday we had defender for no apparent reason. It didn't seem to be that Burke was injured, and then midfielder for attacker, and you think, well, hang on, this just seems completely pointless.
Yes, it's strange, isn't it? It's like a public sulk, and I mean, you'd sort of think that a team that might ultimately take him as a manager would sort of look at that and go, is that is that how you operate?
And the feeble way they came out after half time, I turned to Richard as we were watching. I said, well, it's just a matter of time before we're just inviting them to score here. They didn't come out with any kind of we not played well in the first half, but there was no sense that the team had any kind of boot up their backside or any kind of rethink tactically, and we instantly kind of ceded possession and ground to them. I mean, that second half contained the most completely shit sequence of football I've seen in years. We get a free kick. Downing sets up to take it. The centre-backs go forward for a ball into the box. Cresswell, meanwhile, is doing up his bootlace, which you won't have seen on the telly. And Downing decides to play it back to him, too short, underweighted pass. Newcastle rush out of defence. Cresswell miscontrols the ball, and suddenly they have a 4-on-1 against our goalkeeper, which they passed to him.
Oh yeah, that was
the best moment of the game.
It was hilarious and highly. That's what entertaining football's all about.
Yeah. I mean, to add another good word, supine. I thought the performance.
Oh, terrible.
You know, the best bit was that Adrian save, and the chant that followed it was deafening. But other than that, it was an utterly forgettable game. The other good bit was David Gold did a walk. Anyone else who went there, but David Gold did a walkthrough of our stand. You got a round of applause all the way along, which I thought was very nice.
That's good.
And Mike Ashley wouldn't have got the same thing, I don't think.
Yeah, but if you were to think, I mean, if one of those disallowed Hull goals had counted, and kind of we've had one, we've had situations where goals against us have gone a bit like that, like the Chelsea one that was offside earlier on. They sometimes get given, don't they? They would have had every right to look at our performance and say that's disgraceful. That's absolutely disgraceful. We really didn't bother at all.
I think it's quite amazing as well to think that Steve Bruce and Allardyce are big pals.
big mates,
very big pals.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure when Allardyce gave him 5 days off after the Everton game, Steve Bruce wouldn't have been too happy about that.
Don't you think that it suggests that Allardyce known for a very long time that he wasn't going to get his contract renewed, and he couldn't give a shit?
No, the public sulk is extraordinary. I mean, that has been a feature, I think, of Sam, is that we often we turn up in away games to the extent that we could be the kind of the other half of their squad in fluorescent bibs, and we sort of give them a bit of a game. It's not like some of those games under, say, Harry, where we would get beat 6-0 but win our home games, win away from home. We sort of participate in the game, but just about, and I wonder what that's about.
Well, it started in the away game at Stamford Bridge, didn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Any intention whatsoever of competing.
I agree.
And that just kind of became cancer to the rest of the season.
Absolutely right. And I think I would be interested to know exactly how soon fundamentally and basically the players as well knew that he wasn't going to be around, because the kind of actual thing that was set in the season seems to be entirely down to this family. And is it because, just make devil's advocate, is it because the owners didn't want to spend the money on sacking him? If they knew they weren't going to renew his contract, should they have got rid of him earlier and given the person who's going to replace him a bit of time to start building a relationship with the squad?
Yeah, Trevor Drain made that point on Facebook. I thought it was kind of a good point. The only thing I thought that might be a kind of counter-argument is that sometimes more managers become available.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's necessarily the case, but I mean, it's an interesting thought, isn't it? And
I think if you look at the situation with the first half of the season, I think it would have been very, very difficult to sack him. The results we got. It's impossible. You can't turn around and go and sack him, and even all the fans would go, well, what are you doing? You had the perfect chance to sack him last year when the results were bad.
Yeah.
But now you're sacking him and the results are good.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
I think that's what kept him in the job.
Right. Did you feel, looking at it from the outside, but also from the inside, did you get a feeling that that's what was going on? That the lack of effort had something to do with the secret that everyone knew?
Oh, without a doubt. I think I kind of secretly knew it in my heart that he was going a long, long time ago. I think as soon as, even when we were having a good run before Christmas, I knew, before we started in the depression, if you like, I knew that deep down that he was going to go.
You generally made of the last sort of 2 or 3 years with Sam? I've got the feeling from Julian that he didn't like Sam.
Julian don't like. I was with Julian last Friday, and believe me, he don't like Sam.
I think I picked up on something.
Yeah. When they brought him in, I mean, Bolton were the Wimbledon of the modern age, if you like. They were horrible and boring to play against, but they ground out results, and Big Sam kept him in the league all the time. And this has led to the fallacy that Big Sam will always keep you in the league. And that's such a load of crap that is, because it's proved in the second half of this season, that it's not going to happen. He's going to walk straight into another job, possibly Sunderland.
Yeah.
And is he going to keep them up? If he goes to Sunderland, you have a 50 quid on them going down next year, I tell you. Because I don't think he has got a clue as a manager. I'll give you a couple of perfect examples of that. We were playing Manchester City at home. We're 2-0 up. We score the second goal. Valencia is terrorising Vincent Kompany. Now, Vincent Kompany, to me, is one of the best defenders in Europe. Absolutely honest as a day, but really, really a good player. Valencia absolutely terrorised him. He brought him down. He should have actually been sent off if you saw the game. You were there.
Yes,
he should have been sent off.
He should have been, yeah.
But he kept him on. We scored a second goal. He takes Valencia off, brings on our old favourite Carlton Cole, right? And so you go from a greyhound to a donkey, and then what you got? Nothing. You got. I know he's all our favourites, but it's probably a good. I think it's true. TLC, as far as pace goes, a nice donkey. Well, everyone, a nice donkey, a loyal donkey that you'd see on Blackpool Pleasure Beach, that you'd like to want to ride on. That's the one. Not one who's working in the fields out in Greece or somewhere. That's all right. Now we've agreed that we're all right. So, but no, he did that, and within 2 minutes of bringing him on, and it's nothing to do with him bringing him on, but Silva scored a great goal, and then we were under so much pressure because what he'd done, he changed the whole dynamics of the game. He wasn't injured, he just took him off. He's done this a couple of times. He did it against Manchester United, and they equalised in the last minute. You've got no out ball anymore. You can't knock a ball down there and say, go on, Carlton, get that before next Wednesday. You can't do that. You just got to go. And when Valencia, you knock it in there, and he's going to run his heart out for you.
I think that's been one of my big sort of problems with him, particularly this sort of this kind of dreadful run we've been on, because he comes with a kind of package of reputed things that he does, like he'll make you hard to beat. And to be fair, early on, in the Championship and in the first season of the Premier League, he did that to an extent. But then we were going to be brilliant at set pieces. We're shit at set pieces. We're supposed to defend set pieces brilliantly. We time and again last season we conceded from set pieces. A lot of the things he's supposed to be good at as a manager, actually we've been a bit rubbish at. And fitness, our players have blown out their arses in the last 10 minutes, which is why time and again we concede late on in games. So this is all supposed to be the stuff he does.
Playing one up and playing Valencia as the holding striker when he just can't do it.
No,
clearly
Mike can do it.
His strength is over the top. Over the top, running onto the ball. I mean, one of the great things, and he actually admitted to this, Big Sam, then, didn't we? We lost to Crystal Palace, didn't we, 3-1. And he came out and said, we knew that their strength was set pieces, so we've been working on them all week. And they're 3 goals from 3 set pieces.
Unbelievable.
So, you do that, but you don't admit to it. You've been working on them all week.
However, as someone said earlier on in discussion, that under a new manager with a different philosophy, a front three, don't forget he's still on the books, of Maiga, Sacco and Valencia, all quick, all willing to play. That could be quite a frightening prospect.
You've mentioned the big swear word for me there.
Maiga.
I'm sorry.
The thing about him is he's left-footed, and so...
Is he?
Yeah. In all sorts of ways.
So was Long John Silver, but I'd have him Marty first.
I know what you're saying, Phil, but to be fair to Mikey, he was never really given a chance to show what he could do in the role that he could do it in. again, he was also isolated as a lone man up front, and he couldn't play like that. And I'm not saying he's going to change the world, but you know,
He
I think
scored a winning goal at White Hart Lane, and I was there, and I will always love him as a bit for that.
And the third goal against Chelsea, wasn't it? Didn't he score the third goal against Chelsea? So we'll talk. Let's in a minute. We'll move along to where we're going, the new manager talk, signings, all that stuff. But in the interim. Some of you may know, as a season ticket holder, I get emails from certain personalities in the club. Sometimes they're from players, or sometimes they're from people within the organisation of the club. And today, in quite a hurry, I got... it was very busy today. I got one from, if you're a season ticket holder, there's some obviously sort of algorithm that puts your question name at the beginning of it as if it's from someone in the club. Anyway, so it seemed to be to me. I'll try and do it justice. Here we go. So, hello, Philip. David Sullivan here. Well, last week saw the end of another campaign. Myself, Sugar Tits, and David Gold still courageously clinging to life like Andy Carroll's kneecaps to the rest of his legs, and wrestling with death like Oliver Reed and Alan Bates in front of that fire in whatever that film was. We'd like to thank you for another season of support. The parting of ways with Sam and ourselves was amicable, which was good because making someone's death look like an accident is never easy. Just ask Roman Abramovich. Although Roman does it so often that occasionally, just for a laugh, he'll make an accident look like murder, just to mix things up a bit. You may recall that when we sacked Avram Grant, we had to borrow a room from Wigan boss Dave Whelan. This meant listening to his fucking story about breaking his leg in the cup final. Plus, he billed us for it. We should have just hired the room and used it to beat the shit out of it. So now, we always take a special porter cabin with us to all away games, just in case we need to fire someone. It's got a trapdoor, but the RSPCA complained that there wasn't enough clearance underneath it for a decent-sized shark tank. So we had to abandon that plan, and instead there's a system of rotating blades. It's traditional when leaving a job to play a practical joke on the next guy, like that Labour bloke when he left a note for the Tories after they won the election. He left a note saying there was no money left, and Sam's no exception. When the new bloke walks in, Sam has arranged for someone to come up to him and say, "Hello, my name's Andy. I cost £15 million. Hang on, I'll go and get Matt." And so the search for a new manager begins. We've received lots of applications to that, so that ad we put on Gumtree looks to have been a complete waste of money. Those of you familiar with the promotion chase in the Turkmenistan second division can't help but have been impressed by the incredible job Gerhat Satbanafar has done on incredibly limited resources. Utilising a diamond formation of 1-2-3-2-1, he has successfully overcome his innumeracy and the fact that that's only 9 players. He's done this by employing revolutionary motivational techniques. These techniques consist of extortion and kidnapping, so it's even more extraordinary that Gerhat has managed the entire campaign whilst in prison. Incredibly, Gerhat conducts his team talks during visiting hours, each team member taking turns to talk to him through the glass via the telephone, except the captain, who is allowed conjugal visits. Gerhat is very much a front runner for the job. We received a very professional document from fan favourite Paolo Di Canio, who outlined a strategy for a more attacking style whilst defending from front to back. He also promised to overhaul our European scouting system with special emphasis on Serie A, whilst at the same time committing firmly to the youth system and loaning promising youngsters to League 1 and 2 teams to gain valuable experience. All in all, it was an impressive presentation. And the fact that it was written in human feces in no way compromised its impressiveness. Anyway, I've got to leave the house to come and do this podcast, and I don't even sound like this. Come on, you irons. Interesting.
Wow. That's incredible.
You can go home now, Phil. This is what happens on this podcast. Tragically, there's going to be a poem in a minute. Poor Phil.
Afraid so. Sorry.
Yes, what do we think? There's been a lot of, talk of managerial companies.
Yes, who's
a lot
gonna
of the
come in?
rumour mill is very much in operation. There was a little bit of talk about on the Facebook page that a new manager, or the strong possibility of a new manager, may be revealed this very Jim, have you got something?
ITK sources, although Don is our ITK
John Don is
sort of, aficionado.
Are you
Not
keeping
on this
something
one.
from me and Phil?
Well, yeah, a little bit. No, the source
Phil,
is
don't be
very close to the team, the management team at Seville. Suggests that serious talks are taking place between Mr. Emery and the club as we speak.
Dick Emery.
We think that's great.
We think that's brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. There's also talk that kind of Milan are after him as well, and
Right.
One is whether
Yes.
they might be a slightly
Possibly
more
attractive to, well, that's that would be interesting. There's the talk of he will keep you in the Premiership. So my argument to that is that 17 managers keep their teams in the Premiership every year.
Yeah, well, I mean that's it's a slightly silly argument. Phil sort of kind of dealt with that really in a way earlier on, very eloquently. I mean, I think what we're facing now is what we're all dreaming of is kind of revolution. Some manager's going to come in with a kind of philosophy and approach to playing the game. It's going to be much more in tune with what fans want to see. Who's going to kind of get into the club. It's going to be kind of passionate, but also kind of modern and bring a kind of an approach to the football that is going to we're going to really want to enjoy. But just have a feeling that one by one those kind of things are going to fall by the wayside because they've got slightly better offers.
Yeah.
And that the best we're going to end up with is a Bilic or possibly a Di Matteo. I'm not first choice, but in essence, I think that's likely. We've got to be realistic. That's likely where we're going to end up. Sorry.
The point is it depends how well we'll sell the club to kind of the top candidates that are out there.
Yeah.
It's a good proposition.
It is, yeah.
How well can they sell it?
Yeah.
Well, they obviously didn't do a very good job with Ancelotti, did they? Because you said he had a better offer. He's actually having his knee surgery on his knee.
Yeah.
So if that's a better offer than coming to us,
Well, Benitez, I think
Harry Redknapp left on knee surgery.
Harry, yes.
Very optimistic about Benitez. Obviously, looks like he's going to go to Madrid. Schalke, because possibly after one or two people that we would look for, Milan after Emery maybe. For me, the dream is Klopp. The kind of projects, the kind of he's such an intelligent, articulate man. Lovely head of hair. Something like that. It's important.
Is that a strong selling point for you, Phil? Phil does have a magnificent head of hair, I've got to say. As a follically challenged man myself,
I had to have it all cut off last night as well. It was there. Alan Devonshire's very jealous.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, how mighty of football.
Devonshire in his day had flowing locks.
Yeah,
didn't
Well, he looked like I always likened him to a Colombian drug lord. Black hair and a big droopy moustache. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And when I introduced introduce him on stage now, I always say that everything's changed. The moustache is gone, the long hair's gone. He used to have hair down on his shoulders. I said, that's the only thing that's the same. I said, his hair still reaches his shoulders, but it's only when he's asleep overnight. It falls out on the pillow.
He still can't run 400 yards, though.
No, bless him. He's poor on it. That injury against Wigan, I mean, to be honest, he even came back after that, which it was amazing.
Like
Frankie Mack the same, but it was
Chris
with Frank, I don't know who it did Ever Wigan, but you know, when he was a bad tackle, and to me, he was amazing. I'd love to see him playing on the pitches that they play on now.
Yes,
because he was a genius. It was like George Best on mud, 6 inches of mud.
So what do you think about the state of play now, Phil? Where we're going?
The big thing is next season is one of the biggest probably in the club's history, that they've got to stay in the Premiership. They have to stay in the Premiership. They can't go to the new stadium in the Championship, and they kept on. People keep coming to me again, the same argument. Well, you know, you shouldn't sack Sam because he'll keep us in the Premiership next year. And I think that's such a load of crap. No, you can't do that. He proved it this year that he's not good enough, and I think we have got to make the right decision. You can talk about all the guys who've got a lot of experience. You can look at Gary Monk this season. You can look at Ronald Koeman this season. Two inexperienced guys have gone into the Premiership and absolutely done brilliant.
But it seems to be something the owners are particularly keen on, though, isn't it?
Who knows whether he could do it or not? You know, but whether
every appointment's a risk, isn't it?
Everyone's going to do it.
Do you think that whoever gets it is inheriting like a good? I think they're inheriting a good spine. I think there's a good, I think there's 3 decent central defenders. I think there's a good goalkeeper. What do you think? What do you make of Adrian?
I like Adrian very much. Adrian. I mean, he's naive. Because when you've got to think about it, he's 28 years old, I think now, but he's played about 155 games or something like that in his whole career. I mean, I'd played that before I was 20, because I got in early. But with him, he came into the game very late, so basically he's still learning. He's making these mistakes, and so you're not going to see the best of him until he's over 30 or past 30. Goalkeeper coach, he got Booby Mims, so that's what we used to call him, Booby Mims, when he was playing. Alan McKnight. I preferred Alan McKnight to Bobby Mims. Alan's a nice guy. But I like Adrian.
You do rate him, that's the point.
I rate him very much. And I think, that's what I'm saying is, I think he's only going to get better. So it's important that West Ham keep him. It's no good saying, and then he goes to another club when he's 29, 30, because they're going to get the best of him.
Yes, that's right. Yes, do you think early to mid-30s is a really good time for goalkeepers?
I think we've already seen an improvement, haven't we?
I agree.
But I think we've got 3
in respect to what you were saying earlier about the importance of the season, do you think the Europa League thing is a blessing or a curse in that respect?
Personally, I think it's a curse. I don't think we're ready for it. I mean, I look at Everton this season. They were struggling big time in the league. They were just above relegation all the way through. As soon as they got knocked out of the Europa League, results started picking up because they could do something. They're not, they play on a Thursday and then they come back or wherever it is, a long trip, play on a Sunday, and you think, that's not so bad. But it's the disruption that it does to your routine, the travelling it takes out.
There's been a pattern of that, hasn't there? Lots of the teams involved play on the Thursday, struggle. Even though the game is delayed to the Sunday, they still kind of struggle.
Still struggle, and I think it really is. You've either got to have a huge squad of players that you can depend on. You can't keep playing the same.
On the other hand, from the sort of romantic fans' perspective, the idea of the last season at the Boleyn possibly containing some of those classic European nights, that's very attractive as well.
Oh, it is, yes. I mean, I think from the fans' point of view, I think it's great. I just think from the club's point of view, I think they're quite strong.
And for a job description for a new manager is keep us in the Premiership. By the way, we're going to play in this tournament every Thursday night. The whole season is like, I'll take that job. That sounds really difficult. I'll take that job.
And then we could just approach it as an extended pre-season, which for a new manager would be great.
Yeah, but I mean,
because it's unlikely we're going to get very far. Let's enjoy it, and when we get knocked out, we get knocked out.
And there's some guys we could try out as well, like Poyet could be the king of that team.
On the other hand, if you're a confident guy, we're in Europe. Win the bastard thing, win the Champions League.
Absolutely.
It's a great challenge for a new manager to take on straight away as well.
Yeah, it is.
You can't say the name of the team.
Dnipro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want fancy? Yeah. Well, don't know. They got to the final, didn't they? They beat some good teams as well, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Fiorentina.
Yeah, they did.
yeah.
They beat
Like
some
we
good
fancied
teams.
playing to police.
Yeah.
We played
Get a lot of air miles. Get a lot of air miles. It'll be fun. You know, a lot of holidays.
Just enjoy it.
Oh yeah, I think so. Seriously, I think you just got to go. Totally enjoy the thing. Totally enjoy the experience, and if go as far as you can in it, but don't put too much emphasis. Play your youngsters. Give Elliot Lee a chance. For God's sake, he should have played in the last 2 games.
Oh yeah, no. Actually, that's an interesting point because I meant to say when he came on Sunday, he came on with kind of energy and attack. Suddenly, there was somebody in our team with movement in front of the ball, and he clearly wanted to achieve. Why hasn't he been given a chance? Why hasn't Poyet been given a chance? You're safe. You're safe at Christmas. So why don't you? I don't care about whether or not you're going to have the job or whatever. From the fans' perspective, people who pay good money, a lot of money, to follow the team away from home. Why don't you just say, right, well, we'll give these guys a chance. We'll go shit or bust. It doesn't matter if you lose games. Playing an attacking brand of football. We would have probably done better.
I think there is a kind of exciting, at least sort of spine of a team for a new manager to come in, and they're not Sam's men. I think they would play for a new manager. Yeah. I think we have a good central defence. That's very, very important. I think. Yeah. When. Someone that's Colin Milne is in there. He's just shouting randomly. He's been get that guy out of here.
You're right, Colin.
Yeah. We Shays on for Colin. Yeah. Most right, Shays on. So yes, Jim's got a poem. I think this maybe we'll wrap up this first half podcast before we go to the Film Park special.
Yeah. As for all my poems, this is dedicated to Matt Liston, famous lover of poetry.
Now I know that at the last podcast, Colin Milne took up a position on the chaise longue just to listen to your poetry.
He did.
Don't know.
Yeah,
are there any positions? I don't know.
Well, there are 3 spare seats down the front here. You can come and lie down here.
I don't know.
They're quite good.
Are there any positions you'd like us to get into, Jim, to listen to the poem?
Not especially, no.
Phil, are you happy sitting like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like him to do it in the voice of Pam Ayres.
I'm not doing it in the voice of Pam Ayres now. Colin is here.
Colin's on stage.
He is.
Colin Milne is reclining on the stage behind us.
Colin is now reclining.
Everyone else should listen to it like Sam Adams would listen to it.
Beached, as we prefer to say. Colin is now beached at the back of the room.
Right. Shall we begin? Yes, this needs a little bit of context. This is a poem about goalkeepers.
Phil's a goalkeeper.
Yeah. I spotted that.
Right.
Yeah.
This isn't just coincidence.
No. It's a kind of follow-up to one or two poems I've done in the past about the West Ham way, if you like. So it's the West Ham way sort of part 2.
Okay. Jim. Try and mention a film.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Oh, right, good. Good, yeah.
So it's got a subtitle, which is "With Big Phil in goal, we never needed to pass the bus." Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So it goes like this. Well. When I first saw San Miguel del Castillo appear upon the team sheet, I thought, fucking hell, they're trying to sell us Spanish beer. I didn't know then you weren't an advert, Adrian. But I do know now, and wow, how I love your Latin antics. The pumping fists, the passion in your face. I love the way, however frantic the action in the box, your sleek Hispanic locks are never out of place. That night before the Bobby Moore, when like a reckless matador you tore your gloves off, will ensure your West Ham fame. Loud and long will always sing your name and still pronounce it wrong. But wait, though great, you're not a legend yet. In the multi-screen Odeon of my head, there's a custodian or two I'd pick instead. Rob Green was one of my goalie loves. He was cool between the sticks, with his ultimately ironic gloves saying England's number 6. And then there's Ludo, our bouncing Czech McCloskey, the giant from Ostrava, which actually is farther from Moscow than from here. The man whose finest hour turned Fergie's claret sour. But the best I've ever seen in claret and blue stroke green. Our eternal number 1 is one big son of a gun whose stunning double saves and Cossack hairsprayed waves lit up my youth. Struth, you know I'm speaking truth. No ifs, no buts. He was the mutt's nuts, the bee's knees, even when his knees were dodgy. He made the goal look small. He was the greatest of them all. Big Phil, you're still the keeper of my dreams. Until I wake into my worst McKnight.
Very, very nice. Very nice. That is, I think that's probably a moment to end on. To end on. That's a fantastic moment, Jim, to well-deserving recipient of that. The best keeper West Ham ever had.
Absolutely, yes.
So why don't we just wrap this podcast up now? So with me have been Jim Grant, John Peretta and Phil Parr.